Alright, good evening everybody, and welcome to the kingdom. Earlier tonight we had our second episode of Relics revealed, and I guess now we're having the third episode, completing the analyzation of the 5-star relics. Now, I gotta tell you guys, once again, this series is not meant to ultimately go over every relic that's out there, but to really analyze the game-changing relics that naturally is released. So that's what you should expect coming into these videos. If you have any recommendations on relics you'd like to hear my thoughts on, let me know, and if it fits into that criteria, absolutely, that's what I'll be doing moving forward. Alright, so tonight's 3 relics that we are going to be covering are the Night Whisperer, the Shadow Dancer, and the Stormbringer. Now, we'll be going over visuals of these here in a moment, as soon as I bring them up here in a moment. Now, at the end of all this, I'm also going to see if tonight's going to be a good night for relic foraging, because if so, you guys will be able to see my strategy once again. Go ahead and collect some food here. Alright. Okay, so Drew, welcome back, man. Yes, I thought about it, and I realized that if I were to do a grind stream tonight, it wouldn't be very long, because, you know, as you guys can see, I'm at 3,300, and I only need to get to 5,500. So I decided to complete the series for the 5-star relics tonight. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch over. So we're going to start with the Night Whisperer. Now, the Night Whisperer is the Infiltrator's weapon, and it has an amazing first ability. 250% armor pierce for Infiltrator Titans, and then it has those global abilities that I spoke of in the last video, where it gives all troop damage and all troops health. Now, these troop damage and troop health is on par with the other 5-star relics, meaning that this buff is the equivalent of taking the best parts of the offensive and defensive relics for troops that are out there. For example, Bitter Dirk will give 50% troop damage, and troop health is given by 40% by the mounted armor. Now, this 250% buff to Infiltrator armor pierce is what really makes Night Whisperer stand out. It is a weapon that you can literally just stack damage and crit on your Titan moving forward. Now, strangely enough, this makes me really makes this weapon really effective for the relics that came out with Loki. Ones that buff 2 Titan abilities, and then 1, the militia buff. Now, I'm not saying this has to be done with militias, but this essentially will make your Infiltrator the strongest single unit attack in the game. Any of those bases that rely solely on, paladin defenses or just heavy Goliath defenses, that's where this will really shine, allowing your Titan just to mow through everything that's available. And because there's so much armor pierce on this, with the right Titan skills and the right other relics, you could save 2 or 3 of your relic slots simply for defensive purposes. That way you can, whether you soak up the range damage that's coming in, or it's all Imperials you're going to be facing and just max out your ice resist, it'll allow your Infiltrator just to mow down whatever defense is there. relying solely on the damage of one unit. So overall, I mean, this relic really doesn't have an equivalent. Now, I could really see this being effective for the same reasons I see infiltrators being effective now, as they are incredible at raiding lands and destroying just the heavy defensive garrisons that are out there. It really has the power of moving your own infiltrator to the next level. Now, moving on, we are going to have a quick look at the Shadow Dancer. This relic, I believe, upon release, was the strongest relic out of the 6 that were released for the 5-star relics. Mainly because of that first ability. 95% resist, or Titan resist against range. Now this shares many buffs in common with the Guardian relic, in the sense that it is a single unit buffing relic. And it buffs a great deal. Now it doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't buff as much as the Guardian relic does, but what it does buff, it buffs more of. Now, I say this was strongest upon release, simply because you could throw this on any Berserker, and then all of a sudden, any Siegfried or Solzar defenses, where they're using just archers or grenadiers, just became completely useless against you. Josh, it's good to have you in the channel again. And so, you know, I was really wanting one of these, just because, I mean, you could just run your Berserker in, he could tank up all of the damage that's out there, and then any of the troops behind him just mowed down any of the ranged troops that were available. So, incredibly powerful. Now, this also has the benefit of being in a position where if you are running the Paladin Berserker or the Infiltrator Berserker, where they have those skills, I mean, this has the potential to be the catalyst for which a Titan that is completely immune to both ranged and melee is built from. Now, while you can equip, well, there's only, what is that? It's 24% that you can resist against melee that you can equip. Currently, when they release more relics, you know, they do that 3 more times, you have 4 relics that give you resist against melee, and then you have this one relic, and all of a sudden, the only damage that your Titan can take is 5% against ranged. So, I mean, this has that ability to become the catalyst by which you become immune to all damage first, depending on what type of relics they release more in the future. And so that's pretty impressive to me. Let's see. Now, last but not least, we're going to go through and check out Stormbringer here. Strangely enough, this was the relic that everyone wanted upon release, because this one's abilities are the most straightforward. Just the universal buffing that is out there, and, you know, having armor piercing and Titan damage at the top, and then it adds in the troop damage, or the Titan and armor troop piercing, and then the troop damage, troop health. So this is the most straightforward of the relics, and it really fits into any slot a ranger would have. So, I mean, a general complimentary feel comes from this particular relic. Pisces, welcome to the channel, and thank you for the update. Now, my thoughts on this weapon are, while it is the most straightforward of all the weapons there, I think historically, as we move forward, this will be looked at as the weakest of all of the relics in the long term. And that's just because it doesn't have any grain-breaking abilities. It's basically an upgraded 4-star weapon. And don't get me wrong, it's very impressive. This will be a great addition to anyone's arsenal. But when you look at the other abilities printed, those abilities definitely trump this top ability here of just adding 30% Titan and armor Titan and troop armor piercing. 30% really doesn't do much against the X armor skills that are out there anymore. So, while it is still effective now, as more and more relics come across that are going to be released, this one will feel the most dated in the upcoming months. The 5-star Infiltrator Relic Pisces, the Night Whisperer, I'm going to say it's right about mid-tier for what's released. It absolutely has the power to make your Infiltrator just a beast on the battlefield. Running through and just destroying everything in its path. I like it more than I like the Stormbringer. But despite how powerful that may be, and despite the power that the Stormbringer has, they're not going to be able to compare with the all too powerful resist weapons that are available. You know, the Berserker one, 95% resist against ranged. That is absolutely crazy. Or, you know, the resist against melee, or the resist against all damage. While those relics are incomplete right now because they need more relics to utilize their full potential. Because of that, Night Whisperer is probably moved up in power level above a lot of those currently. But its potential falls far short of those. So these are my thoughts on, you know, the Stormbringer, the Night Whisperer, and the Shadow Dancer. They are all of them are better than the 4-star relics you're going to be able to get. But as time goes on, the potential of the relics is what's really going to make or break them. Now, this concludes this particular episode where we finish off the 6 5-star relics. You know, if you have any comments, any thoughts on these, you know, feel free to leave them in the area below. Like and subscribe as you will. As a little bonus, night or relic forging. I've been saving these up, and I'm going to tell you guys now that the last few days have been abysmal for me for relic forging. So I've done my little trick, fused, and since I haven't had any success, we'll see if I can counteract that tonight to everyone's benefit. Now, I'm going to start with the head of Mimir. Yeah, sometimes there's the bad streak that we go on, Josh. And because of that, it's good to do what you can. You know, wait it out, and hopefully you'll get the success. So that is number 2. You know, that just happens. I'm just happy that I don't keep banging my head against the wall on those days. So that's number 3. This is number 4. Going on to number 5. There is always tomorrow. And finally, number 6. We'll see if I can bring it home with this one. It's all 2 stars, so I have a little bit higher of a chance. Oh, guys, it looks like it'll have to be another night or I'm going to have to try this again in the morning. I got one more shot, because I do, as you guys see, have not a lot of time before some of this stuff starts to expire. Nope. Alright. Well then, I hope you guys enjoyed this particular episode of this series. I believe, unless some other game-changing relic comes up next, we will be evaluating the orbs as a whole in my next video. And that's just because the orbs, their power level is phenomenal when considering that elemental resist is very popular, and those things really allow you to shore up some of your weak defenses. Yeah, but we'll be covering those in the upcoming video. And then I got a few more ideas before we come to the end of the current relics that I think have the potential to be game-breaking. Alright. Now, as always, thank you so much for joining me at the Kingdom tonight. And you're right, you know, I do these little series just because they are my thoughts on these relics. And on, you know, the Titans, depending on the series that I do. I hope you guys enjoy them. If you have thoughts or ideas for additional series, leave them in the comments below. If you haven't already done so, like and subscribe. You know, that's what really keeps me making this video content, to, you know, push forward the agenda that no one else is really discussing. But thank you for all your guys' time tonight, and you guys have a good evening.